The pagan Jesus. Was Jesus pagan? Well, according to the definition of paganism, he was a pagan. He was many things. You couldn't put Jesus in a box. He didn't fit nicely in any category. He encompassed everything. But before we delve into this explanation of Jesus the pagan, let's investigate what paganism means. And according to WHTNHS, paganism is the belief that nature is sacred and that the natural cycles of birth, growth, and death observed in the world around us carry profoundly spiritual meanings. And it goes on to say that humans are part of this ecosystem, including trees, animals, stones, and everything else that makes up the natural world. Isn't this right? Of course. So I don't see why it's so controversial about paganism. Just like Abrahamic religions, it is the way you interpret the teachings and put them into practice that decide whether it is ethical what you're doing and for the uplifting of oneself and the world or not. Do you recall how Yeshua taught many lessons about life using nature as an example? For instance, in the Sermon of the Mount, he taught the following regarding nature. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are you not much better than they? And why take you thought up for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all its glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall not much more clothe you, you of little faith? It would not surprise me at all that Yeshua was eventually also accused of being a pagan, or of teaching pagan customs back then, because of the way of using nature in his teaching and loving nature itself. In Genesis, the story of humanity begins in nature, and the divine created nature and blesses it. Then the divine forms Adam from nature itself, out of nature's elements, and eventually Adam sustains his own body by absorbing all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals found in the fruits and trees and shrubs, which are earth themselves. And Adam or man becomes an intrinsic part of the ecosystem, and the divine one sees that it is all good and blesses Adam and Eve. The persecution of so-called pagans throughout the ages in the name of Christ is one of the saddest days in Christendom's history. The murder and abuse of millions of people because they were living in harmony with nature and because it formed part of their worship of the divine is not what Yeshua was referring to when he said to go out and preach the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom he was referring to is within and also outside, meaning that the kingdom is in each person, and whatever is in that person, in the case of being good, will manifest as good in the outside. Eventually, Yeshua also reached out to the pagans, as in the story in Mark 7:24, where he cures the Syro-Phoenician woman, and later on commands his disciples to spread the gospel to the world. In other words, to the pagans. If Yeshua was not about murdering and pillaging people and destroying cultures and histories and knowledge, it makes you wonder what he was talking about or referring to when he gave that command. The text below is an excerpt from the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, "It is I who am the light which is above them all. It is I who am the all. From me did all come forth, and unto me did the all extend. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there. Jesus' words in the Gospel of Thomas sound very much like paganism to me, and that is how it must have sounded to the established religious leaders of the day when they heard Jesus speaking that way, perhaps accusing him of teaching paganism. As we can see from the text of the Gospel of Thomas, it sounds very much like the description of paganism in the beginning of this diary. The holy chi, or life essence, which is the light and from which everything came forth, is in the piece of wood and also under the stone, in the earth itself, and also in the stone itself. That's according to Taoism. In other words, everything is sacred and the divine energies permeate and sustain everything. Paganism is correct. Sincerely, the pagan Christian, Jesus.